Welcome to today's episode of Digital Smiles. On today's agenda is the ideal buyer profile. Is this not simply a buyer persona, I hear you ask? Well, not exactly. They may sound similar, but buyer personas are about a human who your product or service is aimed at. Think age, gender, where they live, job, hobbies, and so on. An ideal buyer profile, however, defines the businesses that you should be selling to. Think of the size of business, its location, and its revenue, to name a few. If you run a cake company, for example, then you might decide that your ideal buyer profile is cafes based in South Wales with fewer than 10 employees. Knowing this, your marketing and sales team can proactively reject business opportunities with supermarkets, even if the deal might have the potential to be profitable, because it won't help you to grow the business you're trying to build. But why are ideal buyer profiles useful for businesses? Well, we all want to cater for everyone, but unfortunately, this just isn't feasible. Accepting this will save you a lot of time, money, and some sleepless nights in the future. Making a solid ideal buyer profile will enable you and the rest of your team to spot a great fit customer, ensuring that they can speak to them, tailor great service, and go on to make great content for them too. While you should always know what you are looking for in a potential customer, don't forget to tell your team about customers you don't want. Having a negative profile will allow you to avoid taking on businesses that you know your company won't do a great job of servicing. What should an ideal buyer profile include? Just take a look at our picture-perfect profile plan. First, there's the size of the business, and it's up to you whether this means the number of staff or offices or the number of customers they have. Then we've got the section of that business you'll appeal to. Will your product or service benefit a specific department, or will it solve problems for HR as much as it would the IT team? Next up, we've got the business location. Do you have 24/7 processes in place to support working with anyone globally? Or are there restrictions to selling outside of your country or continent? Then we've got the job roles in the business. Who do you need to be communicating with in order to progress sales further? Next, you should be thinking about a bad fit business or a negative profile. Who don't you want to be working with? What factors play into this for you? And then there's business revenue. Is there a particular turnover you need in order for businesses to succeed with you? Can they afford to invest in you from a financial perspective? Then we've got your business goals. Does this business have clear goals that you understand? Do you know how your product or service can help them to attain those goals? And finally, your business values and attitudes. Do their brand values align with your own? How do they treat their customers? This doesn't have to be a lengthy process, but take your time answering these questions to help you get started. The market is more competitive than it's ever been, so you'll need to narrow down the type of businesses to make it easier. And remember, if you're not profiling your ideal buyers, then a competitor will be, and will use it to their advantage and potentially steal business directly from you. Your current customers can teach you a lot about creating an ideal buyer profile. Who you've worked with up until now can show you who you're likely to work with in the future. Look at their similarities and differences, query which pain points led them to you, or even, if you're feeling fancy, send out a speedy, qualitative survey asking basic questions about their successes, barriers, priorities, worries, and goals. An in-depth guide to how to make an ideal buyer profile to ensure your company is selling to the correct businesses. Honing in on the correct clients from the start will convert to far more leads in the sales process. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Digital Smiles. Remember to like and subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about our next video. We'll see you then.